And again, for those who don't know me, Sarah and Jeff, and your photographer, your videographer, my name is June Garneau. I work for my own company, Mapping and Planning Solutions. I have one employee, my son Olin, who's on a leave of absence. I'm a little short-handed. But we put together emergency operations and hazard mitigation plans. That's primarily our business. We have done master plans in the past, but I'm heading towards retirement, so I've kind of let go of a few projects that I used to do. So hazard mitigation plans and emergency operations plans is what we do most. We are located in Twin Mountain, New Hampshire, and the reason we're doing Zoom is we found ourselves doing so much traveling that we didn't have time to recuperate from it to get back to our actual work. So we've decided Zoom is the best opportunity to reach more people, and it still enables people to interact very likely. And we've been doing Zoom since COVID started in June of 2020, and so far we've had a pretty successful time with it. What we're going to do today is talk about a whole bunch of things, and today is more introductory than it is anything else. But we'll start with the agenda that's on the screen. First thing I want to point out is at the top there's a green box. That's a booklet that we suggest you look at if you are really interested in hazard mitigation. The hazard mitigation idea booklet from FEMA does offer some great ideas. And you'll be seeing me mention that later on. I do use it as a source when I write the plan. The other box on the agenda is don't forget to track your time. Now I'm going to talk about that. You may not need to because your grant is such a great grant, but we will talk about whether or not you need to track your time outside of the meetings. I track all your time in the meetings. Now what we're going to talk about very briefly is the evolution of hazard mitigation plans and community wildfire protection plans. Hazard mitigation plans first started being developed back in the early 2000s because of the Disaster Mitigation Act that was signed by Bill Clinton. They do require that every community have a working and non-expired hazard mitigation plan in order to remain eligible for FEMA post-disaster funding. So that's the main reason we do this plan, is because it's required by FEMA. Secondary to that, and I don't think it's a stretch, it's to say that a good reason to have these meetings is to put people around a table so they can hear what the other members of the community are going through with regards to hazards, which is one reason why we like to have the planning board and the select board unattended, so they can see what the road agent has to go through and have a better understanding of the town in general. Ultimately, our plan is to devise an action item table, which is in our plan. It's called Table 9.1, that actually lists a bunch of hazard mitigation action items that are capable of getting done and that are reasonable. So that's our ultimate goal. We also do invite community involvement. As John said, it has been publicized because it is a FEMA grant funded program. They do require that stakeholders get invited. Now the process for funding starts with money coming from FEMA to Homeland Security, and then that money is then transferred both to me and to the town in a sense as a match requirement, and we'll talk about that. There are 12 steps to the process. That doesn't mean 12 meetings. We'll be pretty good getting by with 5, maybe 6 meetings on this program. I don't think it will take any more than that. Community involvement, as I said, is needed. Any stakeholders you want to invite, please invite them. And I will keep track of all of the agendas and all of the tracking of your time at the meetings. Today what we're going to do is talk about your town itself and learn more about that. We're going to take a look at the hazard risk analysis and determine what hazards we want to identify this time around. And we'll also do a little bit on hazard descriptions if there is time allowed. Looking down further, we don't require any homework except from you, Jeff. I hate to say it, you're the only one who gets homework. And that is that list of culverts and ditches, any road work that you think is imperative that gets done in the next 5 years.
Yep.
Other than that, anybody have any digital photos of either the community that are beautiful pictures or any pictures of past hazards? We're trying to revamp our covers so they don't all look alike, so any new pictures you have would be helpful. And we have listed all of the meetings. They're roughly a month apart, and they go until June if needed, and my guess is that we probably will go till May or June, and then we'll be all done. Okay, any questions so far?
No, but I just want to make sure you're aware that we've gotten a special letter to quote, uh, have Wild Meadows grant awarded upon completion of this plan.
Yeah, so we're gonna put you on a fast track.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, there's been a couple of them that I've had that are waiting on grants, and I have tried to fast track them as much as I can. One other thing that I was just gonna say, and I just lost it.
Oh, sorry.
Will come back to me, John. They always do. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is the stuff that I sent with your initial email. The first one is a fact sheet from FEMA. If you want to take a look through this, I think it gives some very good information. I did email it to you when I sent out your Zoom invitation. But there's some great information on here, why we're doing mitigation plans, what we're trying to develop. So please take some time on your own to read that through. The next thing I wanted to show you was the difference between the last plan and this plan is that the state also did their own hazard mitigation plan, and they did it in 2023. They have changed the list of hazards. So the ones in pink are the ones that we'll be going over, and you'll see another list of this in a second. But natural hazards are listed on the left. Technological and human-caused hazards and any other miscellaneous hazards are on the right. We do address all of these hazards, even though FEMA basically took them out, the technological, out of their current plan. But we will address technological and human-caused hazards. The other thing that I have here for a handout that I sent to you guys is the goals. I am not going to read through these again. This is something for you to read on your own. But basically, I'll just breeze through the overreaching goals. We're meant to minimize loss and disruption of human life, etc., due to any natural hazards or any high hazard dam potential. We're also trying to enhance the protection of the general population, citizens, and guests of the state, both during and after a disaster. We're also going to promote comprehensive hazard mitigation planning at local levels to encourage data integration. We'll identify, if possible, the effects or impacts from climate change. We'll talk a little bit about strengthening the continuity of operation and continuity of government, and a few of our mitigation strategies will refer to that. We'll also promote equity by challenging other agencies and municipalities to incorporate whole community concepts into planning and the execution of mitigation projects. As you can see down further, it does list natural hazard objectives, but because the state took technological and human cause out of their plan, I wrote this special disclaimer on the bottom. So those are our goals, and everything I'm showing you today will also be in your plan. Now, there's another list I sent you, which is the acronyms and abbreviations. I send this out ahead of time because we're such an acronym-driven world. So it's just being sent to you in case you have questions about what an acronym means, but I will do my best to spell things out for you. And lastly, I have a dog going crazy for some reason. Lastly is our work record. Now I'm going to talk about the need to fill this in. I mentioned track your time outside of the meetings. This is probably the only sheet you need to print. But because you've gotten such a great grant, you may not need to even print this. The work record is just for you to record time you spend outside of the meetings. So Jeff, if it takes you a half an hour to write me a list of culverts, you write that down on this sheet. But you don't need to record what we do at the meetings.
Yeah, we already put a line entry for the pre-meeting to get everything organized for this meeting for a half hour.
Should. Anything Sarah's done, anything anyone's done, should all be recorded as on your work record. And I'm going to show you why that's important now. Sarah and Jeff, I'm not sure you're familiar with how a match is earned, but because you have this grant, FEMA is requiring the town to put in sweat equity, is what we like to call it, sweat equity on the project, and that is the match. Now the match is provided to you at $25 an hour. If anyone, Sarah or you, Jeff, John, I don't think you're full-time, but if you make more than $25 an hour with benefits, we'll put that number in instead of 25. So Sarah, if you could gather me that information, that would be great. Now the way it works is that you have a $1,000 match requirement, which is extremely low for most communities. So far today, you've already made $150 towards that match. So you only have $850 left to get. And every single thing you do with regards to this plan does count towards the match. Is there any questions about it? I know it can be confusing.
No, I think we're pretty savvy to
I think
that.
we're gonna hit that quick.
Yeah, you're going to hit it easily, especially if you guys have higher rates. And we'll keep an eye on this every meeting. We'll check this out to make sure that you are on track to make it. Now, one thing I did notice is your plan has already expired. It actually expired in October of 23. So we are working with an unexpired plan. And the grant expiration, however, doesn't expire until May of 26. We won't take that long to get this done, especially since we are going to fast track it. Anytime you do outside of the meetings, we'll go in here. So John, say you already have 10 hours of extra hours. I put it in here and watch the match change. Automatically changes. So any hours you spend outside of the meeting will be helpful, and I know you guys are going to make your match. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is our sign-in sheet. Now, you don't have to do anything with this. We do it, but we will prepare a sign-in sheet for each meeting. We do this to cover you when it comes to grant compliance with FEMA and Homeland Security. We provide this to you at the end of the project. What we're going to work on today is this table. This is table 2.1. We call it 2.1 Town Statistics, and it's in your old plan as well. And what we're doing is we're updating this table to be more current and to align with your current trends. I'll go through this pretty quickly. A lot of the information did come from the New Hampshire Labor and Market Bureau Community Survey, and some of it came from the Census Bureau. So we'll go through all of this chart, and you guys have to help me fill in the blank spaces. So let's start off at the top with the census population. 2020, they said Grafton had a population of 1,390, which is up from 924 in 1990. So you've grown by approximately 50% in that 30-year period. Your elderly population is 21.1%, according to the American Community Survey, which is a 5-year estimate. Does that sound reasonable to you that 21% of your population is over 65?
Yes.
Yeah. Sounds pretty accurate to me.
Most people are pretty accurate. Median age is 43.6. Median household income is fairly high at 72. And your poverty rate isn't bad at 7.7. Now the next section is a question about the increase in town and on a day-to-day basis that puts pressures on your emergency response. So if you have 1,300 people, does it rise in summer on weekends and during the week? Do you have an increase in population?
Yes.
And how much?
Don't know.
Do you think it doubles?
No.
I don't think it doubles, but I would say probably by between 15 and 20% at least. I would say
Is that enough?
during the summer months, John.
Yeah, during the summer, yes. Winter, not so much.
Yeah, that's what they're asking. Summer.
Okay, yeah, but they're also asking winter.
Right. So
Ice fishing and snowmobiling is the big thing.
I would.
But I wouldn't say no.
I wouldn't say more than 10 to 15 during the winter.
No, people do hike whatever. I mean, I could go some weekend and count how many people ice fishing.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say more than probably 10, 12% maybe.
You're talking 130 people at 10%.
Because Grafton Pond, when we were plowing this weekend, there was 15 cars up there.
All right, then 10% is reasonable then on the weekends, yeah. For winter.
What'd you say you want to go on winter? 20?
10%.
10.
Okay. Now, as you see, as we go down through this chart, you're going to see a couple places where I'll need your help. but some of it, as I said, came from the American Community Survey. And for those who are not familiar with the American Community Survey, it is a 5-year average of long-term returned census forms. Most of us got short forms in 2020, but few of us, I'm one of them, got a long form. And those get sent back to the Census Bureau and they average the results over a period of 5 years. To me, it's not as accurate as it should be, but it does help. Total housing units, they say you have is 796, 582 which are occupied. Also said you have 214 which are vacant, which doesn't really mean vacant, it means recreation, seasonal, or occasional use. Because as far as I know, there's not very many communities that have true vacant housing. The next section is about your MS1 numbers, and again, I'm going to point to you. I guess you do have homework, Sarah.
Okay.
This homework is for you to get me your latest MS1 numbers. You can just scan the sheet and email it to me, and I'll pull off what I need.
Okay.
I think our population's gone up too since 2020.
Yes and no.
Not by much because it fluctuates.
Yeah, you
It's
remember,
fluctuated.
a lot of people die. A lot.
Well, yeah.
The reason we do this assess building structure value is when we're talking about hazards, we like to determine a rough estimate of structure damage. So if it's a hailstorm, say we might have 0 to 1% damage to structures. In other words, only 1% of the structures in town would have damage. But if it's a tropical storm, you might have up to 5% of the structures in town have significant damage. So we use these to give some kind of estimate of structure loss value. Going on through the chart, regional coordination is through Grafton County and the Dartmouth-Sunapee Region Tourist Region. Do you call the town hall the town office or the town hall?
We're the town office.
Town office. Is there a town hall too?
There's a town hall, but it's used like a grange. It's used for meetings and things like that. It's not an actual place of office.
Town office. You can correct my typing if you want. I don't mind if you do that. You do not have a town administrator. You have an administrative assistant. Is that correct?
Correct.
And if it's really bad typing, don't worry about it. I'll fix it later. Because I type very fast. You have a three-member select board,
Correct.
a planning board, school board.
We do not have we have a planning board. The school isn't in our town, so
It's a regional school district.
yeah.
But you have people on the school board.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what that
Okay.
read. Do you have zoning?
No.
I didn't think you did. Okay, did you have a conservation
No.
commission? Those are also good people to invite to the meeting if you did. Have you done a master plan since 1987?
No.
The operations plan since 2009?
No, that was still 2009.
That's due too. Everybody's got emergency operations plans due.
Yeah.
Mitigation plan was October of 18. No zoning ordinances. You do have subdivision regulations?
2 acre minimum.
Is that it?
That's it. Right?
That's it.
Yeah.
And do you have site plan regulations? You probably don't.
No.
You don't have a capital improvement plan? Do you have capital?
We actually do have a capital improvement plan new this year.
Really?
Yep.
And you have capital reserve funds?
Yes.
Do you know if the fire department and the highway department have a capital reserve fund?
Yes.
Yes.
Both.
Because my puppy barking in the other room's bothering me, so I can't type at all. Building permits, you do require them?
We have a building notification form, not a building permit.
Okay, this next question, I don't know if you'd be able to answer it or not. Do you know if the town has adopted the International Building Codes and the International Residential Codes?
No.
Yeah, most likely you haven't, but usually unfortunately, most towns do require, or at least request, that builders follow those codes. We have your town website. You do not have a flood ordinance. You're not members of the National Flood Insurance Program, but if you were, the latest DFIRM maps or digital rate maps would be February 24. According to the Department of Revenue, 95% of your buildings are residential with a small amount of commercial and others, including utilities. Now I'm going to talk about emergency services, and there will be some loose ends in here. The town emergency warning system. Now, John, are you familiar with Genesis?
Yes.
Okay. That used to be Code Red, and Genesis now is the operating system. Do you happen to know what the school district emergency system is?
No, not. I don't know what they use.
Okay, I might be able to find that out. So if I put something in yellow or red, it means I have to find it out.
Okay, it's whatever Canaan has for that.
I'm going to write that, see Canaan, because we've done Canaan's plan.
Yeah.
Is that how you spell Canaan? No, two N's. No.
CANAAN.
I completely
There you
zoned
go.
out on that.
I do that too sometimes.
Yeah, I'm getting old. John. Emergency pays. Yes, you do have one, which is nice to have. We need to bring that up to maybe be a little bit more robust, but I did notice you have one. Social media. Do you have any Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter accounts within the town? Fire or police or anybody?
No.
I'm just going to leave that yellow too so I can go back and fix it up. You don't have a listserv or a direct mail to any of your residents?
No.
Okay. Valley News and Concord Monitor still your local newspapers. No public TV. You got your local TV stations and local radio stations. Those must have come from your old plan.
Yeah.
Is your police chief full-time or part-time?
Full-time.
Do you know how many officers he has on his staff?
He has one part-time.
One part-time officer, okay.
He is looking to get another part-time.
Okay, when he does, we'll change this.
Okay.
Dispatch out of Grafton County?
No.
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 Did that change?
Isn't it the
It's-
Lakes?
I thought it was Hanover.
No, it's Hanover.
Yeah. So
All
yes.
Hanover dispatch.
Okay, Hanover Dispatch. Doug Hackett.
Yes.
Okay, Police Mutual Aid. And this again came from your last plan. Danbury, Wilmot, Alexandria, Enfield, and Canaan. And what troop do you
Troop
guys
F.
go to? It is F.
Troop F.
F troop, as we say, as older people.
Yeah.
No animal control officer. Police department handles animal control.
Correct.
Let's talk about the fire department now. Is it a full-time or part-time fire chief?
Volunteer.
It's all volunteer.
And no one gets paid, right? A fully volunteer department.
That's
Correct.
right.
Do you have any idea how many are on it?
It's on the website.
I can look it up.
Okay. I want to say 17, but don't quote me on it.
Okay, I'll fix
Give me a
that one
minute,
up.
I can tell you.
Oh, looks, I did have Hanover dispatch for fire. I didn't know they dispatched for police too.
Yeah.
17.
17.
Oh, was I right?
Upper Valley is your emergency services, fire and mutual aid. You have one fire
That's
station. You
right.
have warden. Who does your EMS?
We have our own.
So it's through the fire department?
Yeah. No, it's a separate department within the town.
What's it called?
Ambulance.
Grafton Ambulance.
Do they all volunteer too?
Correct.
Aren't they on call? It's
No.
paid. It's
We're
per-
stipend.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that-
They
that's
did call it
not-
stipend, but that's different.
The stipend. If we go to like Monday's event,
Yeah.
I make less than minimum wage.
Right, well that's
Okay.
why I was asking.
So it's stipend. If it was on call, we'd be paid the appropriate wage.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not even seeing paid on call wages then.
Correct.
Okay. And Grafton Ambulance is also dispatched out of Hanover.
That's correct.
Grafton Volunteer Ambulance, I'll take off the word volunteer. And they're the ones who do the transportation as well.
Yes.
Okay, hazmat team, the nearest one would probably be Central New Hampshire Hazmat,
Where are they out of?
Concord.
I thought well, we'd have to check with Roger, but I think it's out of Laconia.
There's a new one in Laconia.
I thought there was one way back, but I don't know how the state breaks that down.
Okay, I'll double check that. I think I can figure that out.
Even though Lebanon is closer to us, it's crazy unless they've changed things in the past couple of years.
I know hazmat teams are hard to find. There's none up here in the North Country. They're trying to develop one up here, but there's none up here. Do you have a deputy EMD?
No.
Okay, John, what happens if you're out of town? Who's going to be taking charge as the EMD?
Who wants this job? Oh, I don't have anybody at this
You
point.
don't have anyone. You might say select board or designee.
I would say fire chief.
Fire chief, that makes more sense. You might want to say police chief as second,
Yes.
and then select board is third.
No, they can't find their way out of a paper bag. Make it the road agent, since it's going to be most of his stuff anyhow.
Right, it will be.
Good call.
Glad you said it and I didn't have to.
Oh,
I don't
get
care.
stories
I just
every
don't
time.
care.
This is not unusual. I had one the other day. I won't tell you what town it was. We were talking about changing some kind of regulation or something, and the response was, people would have to die before that happens. So we hear this all the time. Now, Upper Valley is your regional public health network. Do you have a health officer?
Yes.
How about a deputy health officer?
Not yet.
Do you have either a building inspector, code enforcement officer, any of those type of people?
No.
I didn't think so. And I'm sure you don't have an established PIO.
No.
Nearest hospital is what?
Dartmouth? Would it be Dartmouth?
It depends where you are in town. They're all basically the same. Our primary hospital is Dartmouth Hitchcock.
I was going to say that actually. All three of those are probably the closest, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, they're within a couple miles of each other.
Yeah, Dartmouth is the
Yeah,
trauma
Dartmouth.
center, though.
But that's our primary.
Dartmouth.
Yeah.
Okay, now, is your EOC still the fire station?
Yes.
And does it have a generator?
Yes.
Town office is your secondary EOC and does have a generator?
Yes.
It goes from the fire department. Yes.
Okay, that's right, you guys are right next to each other. And the town hall is a fallback secondary EOC? That
Yes.
falls above the primary shelter is your fire station again?
Yes.
And secondary shelter would be your town offices or town hall?
Mm.
The town office has a generator. The town hall does not.
Yeah.
Because it has a generator.
But the town
We could
hall
use-
is more
We could use
set
the
up
shed.
for people to have to stay in.
Shed's got a generator.
But
It-
is
it-
it is it
Or in the
warm?
town office.
Always. Fire that generator up and it's good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Well,
things
our
can be
offices
moved
are-
there.
And I can pull everything out in a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That work-
That works. What you got there works. Yeah.
Okay, have you ever designated a cooling and warming shelter?
No.
If you were to, would it be the town offices again?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I figured, and it does have a generator, so that makes sense. Now, household pet shelter. Have you made arrangements either at your shelter's fire station? Can people bring pets to the fire station?
That's a hard judgment.
Mm.
Be easy if you guys had
It
critters
just
or
was to be
something. It could
determined.
pop up.
Yeah.
Or not? Or undetermined at this time? we put it down.
Undetermined, I would say.
Now, large animal and livestock, I don't expect you to have a place for those, but we usually say utilize farmer cooperation.
Mhm.
And where is your nearest humane society or vet?
Enfield is the Humane Society.
Yeah, Upper Valley Humane Society is what it's called.
They always have to make it difficult with those Upper Valley words,
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's in Enfield.
correct.
Yeah, it's off I-89.
Do you have any vets in town or any other vets?
Closest vet would be in
Canaan
West
one.
Canaan.
Do you know the name of that vet?
Cardigan.
Cardigan Mountain Veterinary
Yeah.
Clinic.
Canaan. I forget how close you guys are to Canaan. Okay, so we got all that done. We're gonna go on now to utilities. Now, throughout the whole town, you have private septic and private wells, so there's no public water or sewer.
That's correct.
Correct.
And Jeff, you're full-time?
Yep.
How many full-time employees do you have?
4.
Including
And
yourself.
any part-timers?
1. Well, we have the position for 1, but
Okay,
it's
well,
open at the moment.
Okay, that's no problem. It's just to give us an idea when I write. A lot of this information goes into the part of the plan that I actually write, and this information is very helpful to me. Do you know how many total miles you have in town? Class 5 roads?
68, I believe.
That's a lot. And do you know, can you break that down by paved and gravel?
I know it's about 11 miles of pavement.
The rest of it's all gravel, huh?
Yep. I
That's tough.
believe.
So what is that, 68?
So,
58,
This is a
57.
new item.
You are members of New Hampshire Public Works Mutual Aid?
Yes.
Okay, that's
New
good.
item.
No wastewater treatment, electric supply is Eversource and New Hampshire Electric Co-op.
Correct.
No natural gas. How's your cell phone service now?
A lot better than it used to be.
But
It's
still limited? Still
yeah,
limited?
I would say still limited because it really depends on where you are.
I'll put better, but still limited. No pipes lines or gas lines in town, right?
Correct.
High-speed internet, how about that? Is that better?
Not yet. We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there.
New Hampshire Electric Co-op has started running fiber.
I'll put fiber is coming. And telephone company, Fairpoint, is that still Fairpoint?
No, it's Consolidated Communications.
I thought that was wrong.
Well, they changed. Protect the guilty.
Okay, now we're down to transportation. Primary evacuation routes, and this all came from your old plan. Route 4 and New Hampshire Route 4A. And then secondary evacuations, we have quite a few that lead to others. Dean Road to Slab City Road to Prescott Hill Road to Fowler Road. Wild Meadow Road to Lower Meadow Road. Orange Pond Road to Razor Hill Road to Turnpike Road. And Kinsman Road to Grafton Pond Road. Is that about right to you, John?
Yeah,
Yeah, why to Fowler though?
yeah.
Fowler should be not on there.
Not Fowler, so just Dean Road to Slab City Road to Prescott Hill Road?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where did you get Fowler? My plan doesn't have it. I'm looking at page 32. Did that some?
And it doesn't have that in that Fowler Road?
And it has orange. Does she have orange? Oh,
Yeah,
does
she
have
got
orange.
it.
Okay.
No, I don't. That's interesting.
It's interesting that it got in there.
Yeah, no. The plan that I have printed in front of me, which is the final plan, didn't have Fowler at all. So.
That's interesting. I don't know where my son got that, but my son's the one who prepped this for me, so
Okay.
I don't know who came up with that. But we got rid of it, so
All
that's
right.
all that matters. There's Jane is I-89, exit 17, and I-93, exit 23, about 20 miles to each. There is an airstrip, a Newfound Valley airstrip in Bristol. And then your largest commercial airports are all listed there as well: Lebanon, Portland, Manchester, and Logan.
Okay.
I assume you go to Manchester mostly.
Yeah,
No public transportation and no railroad lines.
that's correct.
Elementary and high schools are all part of Muskoma Valley Regional with Canaan, Dorchester, Enfield, Grafton, and Orange.
Correct.
SAU is 62.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Private schools, none.
Not in town, but the nearest one would be Cardigan Mountain School
And that's in Canaan.
in Canaan.
On the hill.
Well, not in the hill, but in Canaan. Yeah.
I always think of it on the hill because Canaan Village, that beautiful little village on top of the hill there.
Yeah.
I think it's hill. No colleges, universities, and no licensed daycare facilities.
Not in town. Nearest college would be
Claremont?
no Dartmouth College,
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're right.
but that's not in the town itself. But it's
That's an
part of our
area.
area.
Yeah.
I'll put it as Hanover.
Okay.
Alright, and you're not aware of any licensed childcare facilities?
Not that I'm aware
my
of.
knowledge.
Yeah, according to the licensing bureau, there weren't any, according to the community profile. Now, the last couple of questions here have to do with wildfires. We'll get into wildfires more later, but did you have any significant wildfires in 2024? When I say significant, I mean over an acre.
No,
Not that I can think of.
no.
State's been very
I
quiet.
think you had
Now,
that little one that you fought in Orange, but I don't think it was.
No, they had one up on Kingsman that was
Oh, yeah. But that was in.
that
It's
was
still-
small.
It's still small. It's not like when
No.
it wasn't like Hardy Hill where it burnt a few acres.
Yeah, it wasn't like that one on Hardy Hill, and it wasn't like the
Half
other.
Moon Pond.
Yeah, half. Yeah, that was a bastard.
Okay, I'll get the rest of these statistics myself. I know this statistic is correct.
Okay.
I will get the statistics for the county, though, as well.
Alright.
The last box just says where we got the information. As I said, we got it from the Economic Labor Market Bureau, from your old plan, and from the census. So this is great. We got almost everything solved here. A few things I'm going to look up. And you think there's 17 volunteer firefighters?
Yeah, I know there is.
And we'll get rid of that one. Okay, and I'll take care of the rest of that. So, we're in good shape on table 2-1. Now we're going to go to the HIRA, the Hazard Identification and Risk Assessment. Now, John, you probably have your copy of your plan there, and I'm going to show you what it says in your plan right here. Last time, when we did this analysis, we determined that severe winter weather and ice storms was your biggest hazard, or most likely and damaging hazard. That was followed by flooding, tornadoes, and downbursts. Now, as you can see down the chart, they vary all the way down to severe thunder and lightning storms, and then we have human-caused hazards below that. Now, because the state changed their plan a little bit, we've changed ours some too. So we've added a few of the state hazards. I'm going to make this bigger. We've also determined that some of them do need to be reassessed again. So let's do our reassessment, and then we'll go back and compare it to last year.
Okay.
Our assessment this is how we do it. We look at each hazard and we determine the impact, whether they have a human impact, death or injury, a property impact, that means structural damage, a business impact, which means businesses have to close, and the occurrence within 25 years. We're going to fill in numbers for each of those. And the numbers are based on the scale on the left-hand side of the chart, where it says 1 very low, 2 low, 3 moderate, 4 high, 5 very high. Now this chart only works if we kind of think of things in the same way every time, so I'll help guide you through that. But let's talk about severe winter weather first. Severe winter weather includes blizzards, northeasters, ice storms. You have to remember ice storms. Includes all of those things. Last time we said the human impact was a 1, that people did not die or get hurt from severe winter weather. We also said property impact was a 3, Business impact was a 1 and the probability was a 5. If we want to use those same numbers, we can. I'll put them over here so you can see what they were. 1, 3, 1, and 5. So we said last time, this winter weather has very little or very low human impact. It said it had a more moderate property impact, and it had, again, a low business impact. But we determined that it happens just about every year, so the probability is very high. Do those numbers seem appropriate to you for severe winter weather?
Yeah, I mean they seem fairly accurate. I mean,
Yeah,
however,
well,
we haven't really had
I'm sorry.
any severe winter weather over the last few years either.
No, it's changed a lot. The only one here that I might question is human impact at very low. Have you ever had issues with propane heating and deaths or anything like that in town? People using heat generators wrong or anything like that?
We have them regardless of the weather.
I was thinking the same thing.
I mean,
You wanna ma-
We could probably move that. What do you think, John? Up to a 2? I mean,
for the most part, how many snowstorms you have and we don't even go out as far as the fire
I
department?
mean, as far as
Really.
fire,
Dies from snowstorms. You know, it's so I think the one's okay.
yeah, I don't see as much.
People have a little bit more sense here. I mean, if we were in Texas, it'd be a different story because they tend to not even change their speed on driving. Here, people tend to be cautious when there's ice.
Yeah, we're much
Sometimes.
smarter in winter. Now, the next one we're going to do is high winds, and those are the numbers from last time. These right here. We said, again, very, very low on death or injury. We said property damage, again, from high winds was higher. Business was a 1, and the occurrence was a 4. Now, before we determine these numbers are correct, let me tell you what high wind involves now. High wind events also include tornadoes and downbursts. So that might make you think twice about these numbers, but they're not bad. 1, 3, 1, 4. You don't have much business in town, right?
No.
No. I don't know. I think we've had a lot more wind-driven stuff lately.
But not really.
Not significant, but enough where
Not damaging to people either, right?
no.
Do you like these numbers then?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I mean, once every 10, 12 years we may get a tornado come through, but for the most part, we do have high winds, but it's not something that we're not used to.
Dealing with.
Yeah, so it's not a big deal.
Okay. The next one is extreme temperatures, and those are your numbers from the last time. We make them red so we know. Those are the numbers from the last time. Extreme temperatures we're talking about. Now that means both cold and hot. People have asked me for a criteria for cold. I think a criteria for cold is under 0 for 4 or 5 days, which we're kind of experiencing right now. Extreme warm, I think of 95 the high humidity for 4 or 5 days. So based on that criteria, do you think these numbers work for extreme temperature? Very low, low for property impact, because it's usually just frozen pipes. Business impact, very little. And occurrence, for some reason last time you put a 4.5 in there, which is okay for me.
I mean, they seem accurate for me.
Yeah.
Next one is tropical and post-tropical cyclones, in other words, hurricanes. And last time you did 1, 2, 1, 2. Kept it pretty low. And I think that's pretty accurate, and I'm going to say that because there hasn't been a tropical storm in the state since Tropical Storm Sandy in 2012. So if you're happy with those numbers, I think they're pretty good.
Yeah, we're
I'm
happy.
good with that.
The next one is lightning. Now, before I get into lightning, have you had any hail in the last 5 years that you want to record?
No.
Then
Not
we'll
that
just
I
talk
can
about
remember.
The smallest
Yeah.
one was about pinky size, and it wasn't that
Yeah.
much. No, I keep it super low.
Yeah, last time you did 1, 1, 1, 2.
Yeah, there you go.
That sounds about right.
2. Okay, now flooding's a biggie. Inland flooding in every community seems to be one of the highest hazards, and it includes riverine flooding, flooding from rivers. It includes road washouts from heavy rain. It includes snowmelt flooding. Any kind of inland flooding that you can imagine, it includes. So, death or injury or the human impact on inland flooding. And last time you did a 1. You did 1, 3, 1, and 5.
Death or impact, nothing's changed.
No.
Second category is property damage.
Property damage. Property damage.
If you look at the town as a whole, I think 3 is still a good number.
I think, yeah.
And business impact. You know where your businesses are. Probably no concern with flooding.
Yeah.
No.
I haven't seen anything.
But you did the occurrences if it happens every year, just about. Do you want to keep it as that?
Yeah, it does.
Yep.
All right. Looks like we're going real long with this. Now, earthquakes was 1, 2, 1, 2. There will be some changes. Like, trust me. Earthquake again is very low across the board, which I think is reasonable.
Yeah.
Now, the next one is one that was not in your old plan. This is solar storms and space weather. We did actually have a solar storm event last, I think it was April or May, and we'll talk about that at another time. But generally, all that does is cause minor communications difficulties. So how do you want to rate this one? There's
Low.
no human impact, unless there's a huge blackout, then there is.
People have generators and things like that. People here are pretty resilient. I'd give everything low impact.
Okay, no property damage, no business damage, and likelihood of occurrence. And in truth, you don't even have to identify this one. If you want to take this out, we can take it out. But a lot of communities are keeping it in these days. Okay, the next one is infectious diseases. And the last plan, infectious diseases, was called epidemic and pandemic. And your numbers on that one, the last plan was 4, 1, 2, 1. And that was pre-COVID. So,
I was ahead of my time.
that was pre-COVID. So you said personal injury was a 4, and I think that's pretty accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Property damage is a 1. I think that's accurate too. And business, you elevated that to a 2 last time, which I think makes sense. Because the standard rule of thumb is in any pandemic, you might lose half the staff. Infectious diseases, though, is no longer a 1 on a scale of probability of how often it will happen. Infectious diseases includes flu, Zika virus, H1N1, avian flu, every kind of infectious disease you can imagine. So I think 1 is too low for the probability of it happening.
What do you think, John? A 3? Or do you want to match it as a 4?
I think we'll match it as a 4. I mean, that's always going to happen, whether it shuts down anything.
Yeah, or not, yeah.
Right. Now the next one is dam failure. Do you have any dams in town that are concerning?
Not concerning, but we have 3 dams.
Let's see if we did it last time. We didn't do dam failure last time. All right, death or injury from the failure of any of those dams. Or we can take this out if you don't think they're that
No.
much of a...
Well,
I don't think we should take them out, but
the likelihood is, at this point, is a 1. The state has already rebuilt 1 dam, and the other one, Grants Pond Dam, doesn't really matter.
no, and Grafton Pond was heavily reconstructed not last year, but the year before.
Is that the one in Enfield?
Enfield Water, yes.
So that would,
So what do you want to put here for death or injury from dam failure?
Oh, low, very low.
Very low. What do you want to do for property damage? Think about roads too. Is it gonna, if a dam fail, would it interfere with your roads?
that's going to be a 5. If either one of them, any of
No,
them.
no.
For property damage,
How about structures? There's structures in harm's way.
if Grafton Pond fails,
Okay, so
that's gone.
Grafton Pond fails. There's basically a rock canyon for the first half mile. After that, it'll hit that bridge is slated to be replaced, right? It's in 5 years.
If Grafton Pond fails, that road's gone. If any section of that dam goes, that road's gone.
Yeah, but it's mostly silt to that dam. That dam. I mean, water has gone over that dam many a times. I don't think that dam is in. It's not like Grafton Pond where it's holding back a lot of water.
That's the one I was just talking about. The Grafton Pond.
Oh,
I interrupt just for a second.
okay.
Just for a second. You guys can keep talking. I've got to go shut up my dog.
Okay, go ahead. Okay. So, Grafton Pond, correct. Grant's Pond, no.
Oh no, not Grant. Grant's Pond.
Okay.
Whatever.
Kilton Pond, well, that got breached during that heavy rains.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't take out any roads along through here.
And
the
the
worst
only
was over
property-
here, and
Right, but
and we survived it. Didn't go over the road, right? That was that before or after the lifting of the road?
that was
That was before.
Before.
We haven't had any issues since the road was lifted.
right.
The only thing I could see Kelton Pond doing is you have that one property that sits low, but there's no buildings or anything.
Right.
The house is up high. It's just property.
Right, but it depends on how much of a breach you have.
Well,
That's what you have to plan for. If you have a major breach,
Well, when that rain started, okay, and places on backside of Kilton started flooding. I mean, there was water coming almost to the door. They made a decision to just dig it out and just let it go.
yeah, but that was controlled.
It was controlled, but that was dirt there. They just got a new dam there. That dam is not going to break.
Right.
Okay, the old dam, or the valve area, but you can open that valve wide open. Okay, as long as it's not downpour, it'll rise, but it's not going to rise over the roads. Okay, even when they open that wide. Remember, if the water's kept in a narrow channel, that's where you're going to get damaged. Okay, like Canaan always gets flooded because it's taking all the hillsides of Canaan and Dorchester and focusing it. In our case, on the other side, we have that by the dump, that whole flat land. Okay, then you spread out across Williams Field. Eventually, it goes over here. Imagine if all that was concentrated, that would take the road out every time. But
Yeah.
because it has a spread,
Now we're gonna have to worry about that bridge on Riddle.
And we're going to talk about bridges
not
later
yet.
on.
Yeah, but we're just
Yeah.
talking dams right now. Okay, so I would say the only dam that has a potential to wash out roads would be Grafton Pond.
Grafton Pond.
And I know they, quote, resurfaced. I think they're scheduled that sometime in the future to redo the whole thing.
I don't know.
That in Canaan? That one's in Canaan, right?
No, that one's up at it's in Grafton, but it's on the Enfield town line.
Okay. Do you want to give it a 2, just as to give it some recognition that it could cause some damage?
Yeah, let's do a 2 on that.
It won't interfere with structures, right? There's nothing in an inundation path that's structures.
No.
Okay. And business impact,
Nope.
again, a 1.
One.
And probability of it happening on a scale of 25-year period,
1.
Yeah.
a 1. Okay. The next one's drought. Now, drought you did last time, 1, 2, 1, 3.
Mhm.
Drought is more prevalent than it used to be. And I'll give you some statistics about that. Up until 2000, from 1929 to 2000, there was only 5 droughts in that whole period. From 2000 to 2024 or 22, I think there were about 6 droughts. But there's been at least 3 since 2016. So drought has come up on the scale. Death or injury is still probably unlikely from drought. Property damage is still probably unlikely from drought. Business impact is still unlikely from drought, and I'm not sure if we should raise it higher than 3 or if 3 is okay. What do you think for probability?
I think 3 is a good number. These things come in cycles. I would say 3 is a good number.
Okay. The next one I'm going to talk about is wildfires. And last time you did 1312. Wildfires, death or injury. My feeling with wildfires is people could get hurt, but there's usually plenty of advance notice to get people out of harm's way. Generally, we're not talking California wildfires, but it's up to you what you want to do with death or injury for wildfires.
One is still a good number.
And wildfire property damage, we put at 3. I think that's reasonable.
Yep.
Business was 1, and probability of it happen we did as low, not very low, but low.
Yeah, I would still agree with that because of the type of vegetation we have here. And there's a lot more logging going on, so there's a lot more buffer zones.
Okay. The next one's about landslides. Now, it was not in your old plan, and it does not have to be in this plan. Do you have any areas of town that have significant risk for landslides?
Yes.
Okay, then we do want to address it. And tell me what the chance of death or injury or human impact is from a landslide in that location.
Low.
A 2 or a very low?
Very low.
Okay. Property damage from that landslides.
I'm gonna elevate that to a 2.
Okay. What about business from landslides?
I'm gonna keep that at a 1.
And probability of it happening.
I would say 2 also.
Okay, we're going to sort all these. You'll see how they all work out. Now, if you have the next 2, I'm going to be shocked.
Okay.
Avalanche and coastal flooding. They should both get 0s across the board, I think. You don't have any areas of avalanche in Grafton, right?
No.
Okay, and coastal flooding, we're all dead if it comes up
Yeah.
to Grafton. Okay, so that's how we did
We're
that
deep
chart.
shit.
Let's take a quick
Actually, let's
sort
see.
of it and see which one came up first, and see if they make sense. Custom sorting. Column G, largest to smallest. Here we go. So, this is a surprise. Infectious disease came to the top of the list, followed by severe winter, then inland flooding, then high winds. Does that make sense to you? I'm not sure that it makes sense to me.
No, it doesn't make sense to me. I think we.
I think lower one of these. Let's see what happens if we lower the probability of infectious disease. If we lower the probability of infectious disease, it takes it down to 3rd.
Nah, it's gotta be lower than that. But I mean,
I don't know. Infectious disease is pretty significant even right now.
I was saying COVID makes you
All
kind of
these
rethink
hospitals
that.
getting overwhelmed. Okay, so if we lower it down, it does turn it down to 3rd, but we can move it even further if you want. We can change the death or injury from a 4 to a 3.
yeah, let's go with 3. I mean,
That puts a dead nut in the middle. Because
Yeah,
we're
it's a
running the
Yeah.
scale 1 to 5.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, anybody who's gonna die has died off.
By now, I
Yeah.
mean, really.
Yeah, there's better treatments now.
Yeah.
So now it comes in as 4th, followed by extreme temperatures. So your top 3 are pretty much still your top 3. Pretty much the same. So winter
Okay.
weather, inland flooding, high winds. And then it goes down from there. The rest of these, I'm looking quick to see if they make sense to me. And they certainly do.
All right.
We're going to do the same thing with technological and human cost.
Oh, now it's gonna be fun. Because this is a whole new category.
It's a whole new category, and unfortunately, the state doesn't really address it anymore, but in my communities, I have found that people are very concerned about some of these, so we continue to address them ourselves. The long-term utility or extended power failure for 3 to 5 days, I put, from the last plan, you wrote 1314. So death or injury, very low. Property damage, moderate. And business at a 1 and likelihood at high.
Yeah.
Okay? The next one was hazardous materials in a fixed location. and there you did 2, 3, 3, 2. Now I don't know what you've got in a fixed location there. Do you have factories or playbook?
No, but we have a propane storage facility on the far end of town.
That's right. That's
the
what
oil
counts.
storage facility too, John.
So you did.
They're adding oil in? Oh yeah, oil, propane and oil storage facilities in town. So
Okay. We did death or injury at low,
yeah,
moderate for property. Business we did at a 3,
yep,
and probability of happening we did at low.
yeah. I'm good with that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Terrorism violence. 4, 4, 1, 1. We did people getting hurt as a 4, property damage as a 4, business as a 1, and probability that terrorism would happen as a 1.
3 and 3.
Yeah, I dropped those to 3s.
Okay? The next one's a new one, cyber events.
Oh, put that very high. Put that at 4.
probability-
Oh, death or injury? Hang on. Chance of death or injury and grafting. Oh, that's gonna be low.
You have 1.
Property damage from cyber events should also be low.
Yep.
Business might be higher.
Probably 3.
No, that's too high.
On business? Not really.
How many businesses we have in town?
We
But you
figure
don't have a lot of businesses
the
either.
town. The town in itself.
Yeah.
The town is the only one. Okay, but I put the town at a high risk because they're backwards here. So
We have 4.
yeah,
Alright. And have you had any? What's the expectation that you'll have more?
I don't know
did we have any?
I don't know if we've had any, but
Well, Enfield did.
but
Enfield lost 300 some odd thousand.
yeah, I know. I heard.
Okay.
Yeah.
They pay that much money?
Well, they had they're constructing a new fire station, and I guess whoever handles their finances were fished to quote give the account information to the local bank instead of checking with the local bank, and they lost like 300 some odd $1,000. I think they only recovered 140,000 of it.
Wow, it's terrible.
I
That
heard
cyber
Bristol
goes all
got hit
over
with
the
that
state
same
when I
scheme.
do these plans.
They tried
I
us.
think cyber event should be at least a 3.
Okay.
You
They
guys
also
can-
We
got
whatever
did
you
get
want,
that
but
email.
That's at least
We
a
just
3.
Yeah, 3's fine.
Concord got almost
And
a
the next
million.
one's transport accidents. This is what's being traveled along your highways. We did 2, 3, 1, 2 last.
Hey, guess what? That's pretty accurate.
Yeah,
Yeah, we had a full tractor trailer propane turnover, and nobody was killed.
How the hell you
We're
weren't
gonna get
killed? I
into
don't
those
know.
kind of details later on.
I,
What do you want to do for mass casualty? Sometimes towns do the same as they do for,
yeah,
except for property, they lower that a little bit usually because property damage from mass casualty isn't usually applicable.
yeah, I'd say you're correct on that.
So put a 2 there. Maybe.
Yeah,
Now the next one you probably don't want to do. This is conflagration. Conflagration is, in my mind, when you have a big cluster of wooden homes on steep slopes or otherwise in a bad situation for fire spreading.
like California. Yeah, no, we're low on that.
I would almost go zeros across that.
Yeah, I would do the same. That's just no way. Again, because of the way
Yeah.
things are.
Here in New England, I think of like the town of Littleton. I don't know if you've ever been to Littleton.
Yes, I have.
Littleton, a main street, and then it has a bunch of old homes straight up the hill to the high school, and that is just prime for a conflagration. Now the next one's another one we don't have to address unless you want to. This is about known and emerging contaminants. We did not address it last time. This is about arsenic and radon and well water and that sort of stuff.
Oh, we live on granite. We got radon. We have water, and we have uranium in town, so it's okay.
We'll put it in here then. Death or
We're
injury from
fine.
known and emerging contaminants. What do you want to do there?
Now we could just we don't have any of that stuff. So you can make it very low across the board.
Whoop, I just messed that up. There you go. Now the last two should be, this next one should be zeros. This is radiological, but it has to do with Seabrook. So you be zeros on this one.
Oh, okay. Never mind that I had 2 nuclear incidents when I was fire chief, but that's all right.
Did they have to do with transportation?
No.
No. Well, if you want to do radiological.
No. We're okay. We're okay with zeros.
The next one's aging infrastructure, and I don't like this one because I have a hard time explaining it. Aging infrastructure is taking a look at your whole community, your roads, you don't have water lines, but your roads, your town hall, your town office, your highway garage, your police station, what fire station, what condition in general is your infrastructure. And
How many bridges we have on the red list?
Bridges too, yep.
Well, I don't know, because they don't classify them as red listed anymore. They changed the color code this past year, or the year before.
To protect the guilty. It's okay.
Yeah, so it's...
Are your bridges in tough shape? And roads?
3, I think. 2?
I would say that they are. They're definitely.
2?
Well, Canaan has one where they have to have a Bailey Bridge over Gristmill Hill.
Yeah, no, ours
We're not nowhere
no,
near
we're not
that.
that bad.
So I would say we're moderate on the aging infrastructure. I mean, we have functional buildings, but
They need to be replaced. Sooner rather than later, but...
Hurt because of your infrastructure. And property damage, well, that's why I hate this one. It's really hard to assess this one. Let's just go.
It's an inconvenience at this point.
Yeah.
So I would keep that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did. I kind of took it by
Yeah.
the horn.
There you go. You got it.
Let's sort these and see what we come up with. And here we come up with long-term utility, your first one. Hazardous materials in a fixed location, your second one. Cyber events, the third one. Does this look anywhere reasonable to you guys?
I would probably want to see cyber kicked up to number 2.
Yeah. I was gonna say cyber should definitely be one of the higher ones because that becomes an increasing risk
Agreed.
across the board. I mean,
Okay, I just moved it up to second.
Okay.
So it just beats out hazardous material in a fixed location.
Good.
They look pretty good to me. Now what we'll do is I'll adjust these over here. I'll determine which one's a very high, medium, low based on the total risk. And I will send this off to you before the next meeting. And the first thing we'll do at the next meeting is review this once again, especially if there are different people at the meeting, just to make sure we still all agree with it. We won't go through the whole process again. We'll just review it. Okay, any questions so far? Because we're making great progress right now.
No questions.
Okay, I'm going to copy all these hazards that we have right here. Bring them over here. What we're going to do is talk about these hazards in the map. Oh, come on, don't do that to me. Great. Copy. Why won't you work? Here we go. Oh, we know why it won't work. Paste. Okay, what we're going to do now is kind of a free-form exercise. I'm going to ask you certain questions about weather events in the town of Grafton, and you tell me the answers to the questions. First of all, severe winter weather, ice storms. What makes that the most significant hazard? Is it the mountains, the river? What brings severe winter weather into Grafton?
the demographics. Wait.
What'd you say?
Demographics.
Severe winter weather? Not for demographics. Do you have a particular pattern
Yes.
of air?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
From,
It's, I mean,
We
peaks and valleys. I mean, it's the easiest way to put it. I mean, you're in between two mountains.
that's what we want to hear. What's the river there?
Smith.
Yeah, the Smith River.